Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a minute. How are you guys doing? Please go ahead and invite more of your friends, guys. Invite more people. Invite more people. Let me know if you can hear me well, okay? Because I am applying. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hi, guys. Go ahead and invite more people. Listen. I am excited for this live. Salut, Michael. Je ne sais pas si c'est Manon ou Michael. Mais salut, ça va? Filmatic. Hi, David from Kenya. Okay. I love that. Where are you guys tuning in from? Hey, Pierre, how are you? Hi, Jean. How are you guys? Please go ahead and invite more of your friends. Listen, so this special guest I have today, I'm so excited because I've been wanting, the reason why I invited her, first of all, she is a Black successful woman in America. Another thing I really admire about her is that she is a mother and she is a wife as well. We are living in society where they're literally turning as women and men, women and men against each other, where it feels like, the only way as women to win is if we put men down, or the only way men can make it is if they put women down. But I challenge that. I believe that we working together as men and women, we can achieve wonders. And it is possible for us women to pursue success and careers, without having to put anyone down. So I am so excited. I am super grateful. I am honored that she accepted my invitation. So ladies, go ahead and invite more of your ladies friends so we can all learn from Tonya. There she is. Tell you a little bit about our guest, by the way. So Tonya is the host and the creator of the award-winning podcast Truth Be Told. She is also a regular guest host for NPR's Fresh Air, one of the most downloaded podcasts in the world. There
I
she
am well.
is.
Oh my gosh, I am
Tonya,
loving your
welcome,
energy.
welcome. How are you? Oh my God, no, I'm excited for you to be here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I am humbled. I'm so grateful. Oh
I
my
am
God.
well. How are you doing?
I'm more excited. How are you today?
We can't ask for more.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. Right. Actually, we have better weather now in California. Thank God. Oh, I'm super excited. So I don't want to take more of your time. I just want to give you this opportunity. Maybe you can introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about,
oh my gosh, well, you gave
who you are.
me a wonderful
People
introduction.
Who are just tuning in right now.
I'm a longtime journalist. As you mentioned, I'm an NPR host. I'm a contributor for Fresh Air. I've been a television reporter, a television anchor. I am originally from Detroit, but I live in Los Angeles, and I have a podcast, Truth Be Told, which we're entering our new season beginning April 13th.
Yeah, I'm excited for that episode, by the way. So I have been listening to some of your podcasts, and I'm like, wow, there are so many like open, transparent, authentic conversation. I want to give you that. That's amazing. You allow people to express themselves freely, and that's like amazing. So I want to ask you, why did you choose journalism? What made you choose, with all the careers
That's
as
a
Black
really
woman,
good question.
why did you decide to go
I always
with
like to say
journalism?
journalism chose me. I knew at age, I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. I knew I wanted to be a journalist, and in part because I'm just really, really nosy, and I love information, and I want to know about any and everything. I'm also a child of the like late 80s, early 90s. I came of age during that time, and during that time was all about the talk shows. I mean, there was everyone. There was like Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, Ginny Jones, like Jerry, like like goes on and on. And so I would come home from school and those would be the only shows on. And I just loved being a part of those conversations and learning about life and society and all of those things. And so that, you know, I always said if I wasn't a journalist, I might be like a sociologist or something like that, because I just love people and human behavior and understand, trying to find a common understanding and a universal truth.
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. You getting to the universal truth. I don't want to jump ahead and ask you the question, but I want to ask you, so what are the challenges you faced as a Black woman here, you know, in journalism, and how did you overcome them? Because I'm sure there's some ladies who are following us here who are trying to pursue that career in journalism or in any source of like communication career. What are the challenges you face that maybe that
I
can
think
share with us,
probably one of the biggest things is tokenism and being a token in the industry, whether it's media like the media that I do or other forms of media where you work for organizations, or essentially, you know, in television there's the unspoken thing that happens where it's like, okay, we need a Black person, we need an Asian person, we need a white guy, we need a full white woman, and then like we have our setup here. And you know, the idea, I don't think the overarching idea is to use us as tokens, but it's like trying to fill a diversity quota. But what does that mean for the work you do? And what that often means, or has meant, a challenge that I've had to overcome, is to like fight for my voice. And I think that is a challenge that I probably have dealt with, especially in my career, because you know, you're just trying to find out who you are. And so are like getting in the industry and learning, you also want to make a stake for yourself, a claim of who you are. And at the same time, you're trying to figure it all out. And there are these bigger forces is for you on what they think you should be.
So did you face like maybe people telling you like you should talk like this is how you should be?
Yeah, I mean, I used to have early in my career,
can you give us an
example? They would have these consultants come in and they would do voice trainings for me, like, you know, you need to talk with this certain cadence, you need to look this way, your hair needs to be a certain way. You know, my hair used to be really straight and relaxed, your body type is certain. Like I'd have to be under a certain weight. No one said it, but you knew, like, okay, you were over a certain weight, like that would affect your career trajectory. Yeah, absolutely. So it was fitting those ideals that, you know, that's what goes back to being a token. Because if you're a token, then it's not you. It's like you're just filling a quota for that time, but they're molding you into who they want you to be. Yeah. You know, it's much better than it was back then. I mean, the 90s, they were trash. Like,
yeah, I feel you. So did you feel a little bit lost and confused? Because I feel like also sometimes I faced that when I was doing, you know, back, I used to do like music, secular music. And I faced that where everyone wanted me to do a certain, you know, to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to do things a certain way. And I felt like, I'm like, listen, I don't feel like I'm myself, you know? And I think it's a battle for every day that we have to overcome, like being told what to do or living to the expectation of others. So how did you overcome that?
It's a really good question, because I still to this day struggle with that. I've done a lot of work with like coming into my own and having my own voice, and a lot of that comes from experience, and with experience comes power, because when you have then you can say, this is who I am and this is what I bring. And folks, you know, like at this stage of my career, I don't have that as much. But early in my career, I will say I did conform in many ways in order to move up. But one thing I didn't compromise was my sense of the world and what I pitched story-wise. Like, it was very important for me to show the nuances of who the people that I came from, the Black people in the United States. Like that was my core emphasis early on in my career, was telling stories that really deepened our understanding of the diaspora. And so that not compromise on. And I think that could have in many ways, like what some pigeonholed. I think that like, I actually had a news boss say to me one time, you pitch a lot of stories about people of color and I don't want you to be pigeonholed. And I was like, you know, to call telling stories about me pigeonholing actually then de-emphasizes my humanity. It puts you. And so I just knew that intrinsically. Like I fought against that, and that has served me well, because now I can essentially do what I want to do in this space.
And be free to be who you truly are and what you are meant to do. Wow. Guys, make sure you invite more people to join this conversation, because it's about to get now spicier. Okay. The other question I have for you is, so you have a podcast now, Truth Be Told. So
Yeah.
first of all, the name is interesting. Truth Be Told. I mean, how did you even come up with that name?
That's a good question. Actually, the name was not one that I came up with. It was a podcast through KQED, which is the National Public Radio affiliate in San Francisco. And I was working there at the time when a news boss asked me would I want to take over that podcast that was previously done by someone else, but it was dormant. It was like no longer in production. And I said, I'd love to, but it'd have to be different, completely different. She said, okay, put together a proposal. So I put together a proposal, and that's how the show came to be. I wanted it to be a place where we had unfiltered conversations with each other. And the show previously was talking to white people about race. So essentially, like, white people would ask questions about people of color, and then they would answer them. And I wanted it more centered in for and by us. Like the conversations were conversations we were having amongst ourselves. And that name, though, over time, like it continues to be kind of the North Star, trying to get as close to truth as possible. And, you know, truth is there in this day and age, there is no universal truth. We're like fighting against that. So at the same time, using that as a marker to try to get as close to it as possible, knowing that we'll never ever get to like that true sense of truth, because there's truth, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow. That's that. Can you come again?
We are at a state now in our world where there's no universal truth. There's so much, like, you know, you can't really have a conversation about something without folks having different perspectives. And that's just how it is, because we're all different. But right now, such a splintering, and we have more of a universal truth. But what we now understand and know is that there is no real universal truth, because, say, for instance, our perspectives as Black people or part of the Black diaspora might be vast to someone who doesn't have that experience. And I'm just trying to get as close to our truth as possible.
Wow, that's deep. Wow. Okay. So quick question then. When you said that we turned perspective into universal truth. But before I get there, like, I want to know, is that what you were meaning? Like, because we're living in a world now, everyone has a perspective, everyone has a point of view. Was that what inspired for you to say that?
Yes and no. I think, like, you know, when you, you know, we live in a white supremacist society, right? And so we have whiteness, white perspective, we have seen as a universal truth. Like, that is the truth, but it may not be our truth. And so that's why I'm focused on what are elements of our truth, because that is objective and we can see the world through that lens, but that lens may not be our experience. And
That's wow. That's So how do you then, I want to talk to you now to the wife perspective. So how are you able to do all those things, and how are you able to do all those things and succeed, and at the same time being a wife? Because, you know, especially as a young woman, you know, and I'm sure there's so many young women following us, we are told, you know, there's a lot of things, perspective going on, you know, womanhood, and how, you know, we're not supposed to go after dreams, how we, you know, we're becoming more, you know, masculine, and you can't go to, like, you can't chase your dreams and also still be a mother and be a wife. But you are a woman who has been able to achieve those things.
So yeah, I am a
how
wife.
have you
I've
been
been
able
married
to
for
achieve those
19
things?
years.
Woo!
I understand, but no, I've been married for 19 years. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and
Yeah.
it has not been easy, but I will say the number one thing is my spouse. I mean, my husband, I'll tell you a quick story. So we first started dating. I remember it so well.
Yeah.
We had been for like 4 or 5 months, and we started to talk about our futures.
Yeah.
And I said to him, now when I think back on it, it sounds funny to me, but I said to him, I was like, you know, I'm going places, and I have lots of places I want to go and do and be. And so I really like you. And if you want to join me, then we could do it together. But if not, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, you have to be, because I'd
So,
experienced
like,
before
direct.
then. I'd been in a relationship prior to him where I was not like that. Like, I thought all the things that he liked and loved
Yeah.
about me were the things I loved about myself, and it actually wasn't. It was like, no one to
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to suppress me. He wanted me to be in a certain role, and that wasn't who I was. And so I knew really quickly, like, that wasn't going to work. And so with my husband, when we were dating, I made it very clear early on, like, this is who I am. And he said, I'm here for it. And because of that like, we have been able to be on this journey together, where he is supportive of my career and I am supportive of his. And the thing about marriage that people don't tell you that I think is so important is that, like, there comes a point where you do take turns, where it is like the emphasis might be on his career and I have to yield because we have children. So someone has to be there in that dominant role. And then there are times when he takes a back seat and I am in the front. And right now that would be the case. But there were a lot of, I actually, like, it's a blur, like from 2005 to 2012, 13, 14. Like, I was mostly a wife and mom. And so, and I'm still, you know, I'm still all those things. That's my identity, but like, primary identity. So to answer your question, like, these are the types of conversations you have to have really early on when you're dating somebody, because you have to age. People have really strong ideas on what they want, with how they see their future. And if you feel like over time, maybe they will change, that is a recipe for disaster, because that's not how it works.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, so pretty much, like, we have to be straightforward and say exactly, like, be open of who you are and where you're going, and see if the other person is also you know, aligned. And what I just learned from you is, like, exactly like in my mind, I always, he's what I believe in: family. I believe in like, I believe in the traditional way, marriage, you know, a man and a husband and a wife. And growing up, I saw exactly what you're saying. It's sometimes like how, you know, sometimes it's the husband's career that's going so well, and, you know, and it's like I realize, like, it's all comes to the complementing of, you know, the two people, like, coming together to complement each other. So has it, I mean, when you were a mother, maybe this is off, I just came up with this question right now. Right now, do you ever face, you know, criticism with people who ask you like, oh, so why are you
All
going after
the
all
time,
these things
all the
when you
time.
are,
And
you're
especially
good and you have a
women, which I
husband who
love,
can take care of
but
you?
they've learned to like feel back.
Oh,
But
wow.
really early on, it was like, well, what more do you want? You've got a husband, you've got children, your career's doing okay. Why are you trying to aspire to be something more, to do this, or aren't you good enough? But I understand that to be just societal conditioning, cultural conditioning. I don't take that personally because I understand where that comes
Right.
from. And I also want to say in all of that, it's okay. Like if that is an aspiration to be a mother and to build back, that's fine. Or to say I'm going to take my career this far, if that is what makes you happy, that's like the main point of it. I will also say though, in my career, I do find a lot of my have children. A lot of my don't have children. And
A lot of what?
I do see that in the understanding of what my life is outside of our work, because for many of my colleagues, their life is their job. And so when you have, okay, but I've got to go because I got like to.
I have children to
It's
take care of. I have and a
it's
husband.
newer for me. When I was
Wow,
earlier in my career,
that's
I've
amazing.
worked with other people before I had kids who like filled with people who had children and spouses. So I don't know, like that might be something that's happening culturally, that there's a difference. There's a shift too. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't like how things are going right now. Me personally, everyone has their own preferences. I don't like how things are going where it's like, every time you turn to one of the page on IG, it's either, the woman complaining or the men complaining
It's
that the woman is doing
so
too much, or
divisive
the
right now.
men.
It's kind of
I'm like, listen, can we, huh? It's so divisive. I'm like, let's not be divided. Men and women, let's come together. We complementing each other. We are here just because a woman is ahead. You shouldn't be intimidated. You shouldn't want to bring her down. Actually celebrate it because it's a gift. I like to call it a gift. God loves men that he gives you that gift over an intelligent woman. Don't take it for granted. Grab it.
what do you,
It's like he's
what
giving
do
you
you
an
think is happening?
extension
Why
of,
we're seeing
of
so much
yourself.
divisiveness right now?
To be honest, I think it's just the attack on our community, on family. That's how I'm seeing it. Because first of all, a house there's a very good line from the Bible that I like, that it says that a house divided cannot stand. So if men are, we are divided between men and women, the world is not going to stand. We are not going to stand on, we won't be solid. Because I feel, and especially as we are healing and women were healing, and then they say men are not healing, still there's going to be, it won't be balanced. If men are healing and women are not healing, there won't be any balance. So I'm all for, let's all heal together. Let's come together. Let's not be against each other. Let's look out for each other, and also capitalism, I think too, just like Salwa just said. Capitalism,
I think you're right. I mean, I think that
what
we're
do you
seeing
think? What's your perspective
kind
on
of the breakdown of patriarchy, and I think that capitalism, late stage capitalism, plays a part in it. Men are feeling displaced, but that's because they have bought into this idea of what being a man and masculinity means. And I think divesting from that actually will help us become more united. There's still a man's place, but I think that there is such a sense of like this one way that they can be, and women have evolved faster. So I think you're right. Like, we're out of alignment. That doesn't mean one is better than the other, but I definitely do think that there is a sense that like women have evolved in their thinking, and we're waiting for men to catch up. And that challenge there has become such a push and pull. And I just don't, like, it's very scary to see. There are men in my life who I love and care about deeply who like will debate left and right about like the worth of woman. And I'm like, what? How did we get here? Like, is this 1940? What the hell? So
yeah. Yep. And especially like for me personally, I've like I'm even when it comes to dating now, I'm just like I don't know, because it's, you know, like the first experience you had before your husband is like most men, you know, want to bring you down. They see your strength, they see, you know, like you being intelligent, knowing what you want, and it's like they want to bring that down. And it's like, no, 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 I don't want my light. You can't dim my light. You know, I'm not coming to dim your light. If anything, let's shine together. So I was like, you know, I'm taking my time. I'm like, if this is what it means, then I'm Gucci. I'm cool, you know. But then I believe in I think it's maybe a fear of thinking that just because you're strong, you're smart, you're successful, there won't be that, you know, understanding of roles, as you know, because I truly believe that, you know, there has to be roles in a marriage. One person does this. I believe in that. I believe in understanding, because I think also submission has been taught only for women to submit, but I think it takes two people to tango in marriage. Like, you know, a woman is gonna submit to you, but she's willing to submit if you're also willing to yield and submit and be a leader, to lead the way. So I want to go. I have another question. So there's probably other women who are going to watch this and they're trying to get into journalism. What is one word of advice you can give them?
Well, I would say first off,
Want to follow
you know, anybody who's in this profession is in it because they love it. So first off, if you're in it and you love it, that is like the biggest challenge you have to overcome. When I graduated from college, I'll say my cohort of folks who were also going into journalism, none of them are in journalism today. And so that just comes down to one true thing that is one truth. And that is part of being successful in this career is keeping at it. And I think society now where we think we're going to have instant success, instant gratification. And I think, you know, it does take work. It does take time. You know, I, at this stage, which I still don't think like I made it, but I'm like in a great place. I'm really happy with my career and my life. But like I've been doing this for 20 years. And I'm still, like, I'm not an old lady. So, like, I'm still, like, living my life. I think we have this fear, like, we have to reach the pinnacle of our success in our 20s. And then after that, like, it's downhill from there. But no, that's not true. It actually is, like, in the 30s, early 30s especially, it's like you're building. You're building. And then you are seeing the fruits of your labor. And hopefully you're enjoying as you're building because you're growing and you're learning. And you have the least to lose, because you're young and you're not established yet. And then as you get older, you are now imparting all the things that you learned over that time, and you have the experience, and that's when you start to really ascend. That is the long haul. So if you're in it for the long haul and you love what you do, you're going to be successful at it. That is the one thing I'll say. The other thing I'll say is that you know, journalism is changing. So like be open to trying new ways and thinking about new ways of telling stories. There are, I think, oh, okay, it's print, broadcast, digital, that's it. There's also live components. There's also like so many different ways that we can have these types of, what you're doing right now is a form of storytelling. It is a form of information imparting to people, to the public. That's a form. And so we just expanding your mind on what that means. That would be my advice.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you. Okay, so you are an Emmy winner, you know, award. Okay. I want to know how did you feel when you found out that you were nominated, and when you went to pick it up, how did you feel? Like,
I will say, so yes, I did win an Emmy in 2016 for this series I did, Beyond Ferguson, and I would say I felt vindicated. I got it. Like I felt like, okay, it's about time. But I know it sounds. Part of it was because I had, you know, newsrooms can be very political, just like in entertainment. Like when you see Emmy winners in entertainment, like there's a lot of politics that happen behind there on who even can be nominated. And in newsrooms, many times, can you hear me now?
Ooh, you're cutting off.
So in newsrooms, it can be very
I think it's
political
good.
on
Yeah,
who
much
gets
better. Yeah.
to enter into the awards, different types of awards. And so when I finally had the ability to be entered, when PBS entered into those, I kind of let it go. I'm like, if this is for me, what is for you can't be denied. And so that is in life. What is for you cannot be denied. So I say,
What
yes.
is for you
Yeah,
cannot be denied.
I knew that.
Ooh, I needed that. I needed to hear that. Because I'm in the season
Set
where
your
I'm like,
intention and
go,
then let
if
it
it's
go.
for you, it's gonna come.
You really,
Yeah.
So they sent in that, the forms for the Emmys, and when I was nominated, first you receive the nomination, and I said, okay, well, if this is for me, it can't be denied. And yeah, it felt really good. It felt like vindication because you know when your work is good.
Right. Oh, that's good. And I love that. Like that's how everybody should feel it. Like you should be aware of who you are, your worth, and what you bring to the table. So you know that your work is dope. So that's good. I'm happy to hear that. That's confidence. So how does your faith in God help you in terms of like challenges or even in your career?
Yeah.
How has your
So
faith
I
in
grew
God,
up,
helped you
my family
thus far?
has deep faith. They don't like to be called religious, but I would call them religious. Of the There are negative connotations to being called religious, but
Right.
that sense, growing up that way was such a gift to me because it gave me a sense that like there's something bigger than myself, and that I'm always carried. So if I'm feeling insecure, if I'm feeling alone, if I'm feeling anything, I know that there is a higher power. Is not going to forsake. And I think that has been, especially when I was really younger, and when I had a lot of insecurities, when you're just going off to college and like starting off in my career, it was fundamental. It was tremendous to me, and me understanding like I wasn't alone.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. And I think that's everyone. We want to feel safe. We want to feel, a sense of belonging. So it's good that I think also in a way, anyone who wants to achieve any type of anything in this world, I think it's important to have faith and know that, you don't have to rely on your own strength. There's a power, there's God. To me personally, I'm so in love with Jesus because I don't know who I would be if I wasn't here. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't know. But the reason why I wanted to ask you that is because especially like today's time when we are all, people, we are being taught to be self-reliant, and knowing that we, believe in yourself, which is good, it's important. But most people don't understand, like, in order to achieve something big, you have to believe in someone who's way bigger than you. So thank you for
I want to say one thing about that. I do think like
answering that.
the whole empowerment, like believe in yourself, it's you, but it's in you. Like it's in you. It's like, so those messages you are hearing, I do, that question you asked me about journalism, anyone, like advice for those going into journalism, but I would say this advice is for anyone going in any career. It's like you trusting yourself and your intuition, because it is God. That is God talking to you. I think that we always are looking outside of ourselves. And when we look outside of ourselves, that doesn't allow us to hear that voice inside of ourselves, that divine voice that is in us. And I think that is like the most important thing, and the most important distinction.
Because we usually know, like, God speaks through us, and especially when something is you're about to do something, like you knew, for example, that you wanted to be a journalist since you were 6, and you followed it, and here you are, because it was that God in that instance, you felt it, and you're like, I'm gonna follow this. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. So I'm very passionate about, like, the Black community here and Africans coming together. You know, I feel like we both have very, very deep history. Like we went through so much as Black people. My praise for us to come together, you know, to unite, and I always say, hey, if African Americans and Africans will come together, whoa, it will be a powerful. I mean, it would be
like it's
powerful
actually
you
like
know,
we
it would
rid
be
ourselves
unstoppable.
of I don't even like that would be wild. Yes.
Oh my God! But it's happening. It's happening. I think it's coming together. Do you have any do you have any advice or any message of healing to, you know, of to our community, like the Blacks
Oh,
and Africans,
that is
a
such a
message of
deep
unity and healing
question. I
that
mean,
you can
an
share with
important
us?
one. It's an important one, but I think that the first step is us being in conversation with each other.
Yeah.
I think that both populations have really listened to white notions of what we are. Like the perceptions that Black Americans have about Africans and the continent of Africa, we don't even know like the distinctions. That is just how it's just like this swath of land, and there are these stereotypes, right? And it's the same for Africans with Black Americans, right? There's a perception that you have when you come here of who we are and what we are. And I think the only way for us to come together is to be in community and conversation with each other, to be able to have an understanding of who we are. Actually, that's a great idea. That is a great podcast right there, where you Black Americans in conversation with each other.
Yes, girl.
I love.
There you go. There you go. Because honestly, I want to say something. Like I see how, you know, especially Africa is portrayed on TVs here. You know, they always show the bad stuff. And every time, and I'm going to be very open and transparent. It makes me sad every time I'm talking to, you know, my Black sisters and my Black brothers. Right. And I tell them Africa, and they think it's a country when it's a continent. It really breaks my heart, you know. And then when they think about places to go for vacations, they're thinking about Mexico, right, Europe. And I'm like, listen, you know, Africa has the most beautiful beaches in the whole world. Like, what? You know, and it's like, no. It's time that it's time for us to now to learn to love ourselves, to love each other, to promote, you know, our things, and support each other's businesses. I want to see more African American go to Africa for vacation. You know, just like the music is coming, but now I want to see more collaboration. Listen, that podcast, you can do it. You can do it, yeah. So if you ever want to go to Rwanda, you are more than welcome to go visit Rwanda. Yes, and I definitely I'm gonna try to get my friends to get you so you can go visit and see the country. It's one of the most beautiful countries. It's a country of 1,000 hills. We have a very, very our country is a country. It's a country. It gives hope. We had the worst genocide in 1994 against the Tutsi, and now we built. We are, you know, the country is the safest country in Africa right now, the cleanest country in Africa, the most growing. And listen, if you're thinking about a spot to go, it's beautiful. It's green. We have the mountain gorillas. If you think about a spot, if you want to go to vacation, let me know. We'll find a way to
because I really think it should happen. You should.
Yeah. Listen, if you want me to join you, I'm down. Salwa will be our leader. Yeah, but that will be that's
about Rwanda being the safest country in East Africa right now. In Africa, period.
In Africa, in the entire Africa, yes. So it's truly a blessing, and learning from our history. You know, the power of forgiveness, the power of unity and reconciliation. You know how managed to come together, and literally it's amazing.
I will
It's
tell you,
very
when I think about
humbling
it,
and
it
honoring
always makes me
to
want to
be
cry. Like, I feel so much emotion about the idea of being connected to Africa, because we are always
yeah,
searching for that origin. We are always
yeah.
that connection. And we'll never really know like the true
Hmm.
origins. There are now DNA tests that allow us to get, we can, but that closeness is just like a number on like a piece of paper as
Right.
far as percentages of what you see. But like, to have that connection to the land and to the people, it
What
is important.
you could be
I'm glad it's what you feel passionate about too.
yeah, going there, I think going there as well is it's there's something, knowing, having a percentage, but going there and actually touching the land, that whole thing is only, you're gonna have a spiritual moment. It does something to you. So anyway, that's it for today. Where can we find your
Yes, so follow
podcast?
us. You can follow
How
me
can people
on this
reach
Tonya Talks.
you?
You can also follow the podcast Dear TBT on Instagram. Our next season 5, launches on April 13th. The trailer comes out this Thursday. It is going to be, I mean, it's going to be mind-blowing this season. We go really deep on some very important topics, and yeah, I look forward to it. And I hope that everyone can join us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. I'll be pinning both your IG, and then I'm looking forward for people to go and start listening to your podcast, because it's very healing. It's things that, like, the content you're creating is to bring all of us together, and information, wisdom.
Having,
So thank you so much, Tonya. I hope you're coming back soon.
yes. Bye.
It would be glad. It would be good to
You
host
too.
you again. Thank you for everything. Bye. Have a good one.